Okay, today's review is about Ghost Hunters by Deborah Blum, and pardon the big interlibrary loan sticker on the front and stuff. You'll have to go to Amazon or something to get a look at the front cover. And now bear with me here because I am not that good with names to begin with, and most of these names were new to me, so I'm probably going to forget half the people that were involved in this, because she really covers a lot of different people. But basically, what it says is the story of William James and the search for scientific proof for life after death or something. But it really is an account of the beginnings of the Psychical Research Society that started in England, and then its sister organization, or no, it's the Society for Psychical Research, and then the American Society for Psychical Research, and the people that were involved with that. And of course, by default then, it's an account of what they studied, which was the mediumship and paranormal phenomena of the day. Now, this book was a real eye-opener for me. It's not a work of fiction. It's basically a historical. It's not even a historical novel. It's basically a history book, and it's written in kind of a quirky style. She jumps around all over the place, and just the minute you get and she does mini biographies of just about everybody when she introduces them, and just when you think you got the hang of who this new person is, she jumps over and talks about something else she was talking about a couple sections back, and it's just all over the place. But that's her thing, and I guess it works. I think it's clunky, but it works stylistically. But as far as the topic, I think she does a fantastic job. She really did a lot of research into the real sources behind these people, their letters. Really did a lot of reading of their correspondence to one another, and of course the journal, the proceedings of the Society for Psychical Research, and did a really good overview of the history and she obviously did her homework. And it was a real eye-opener for me as far as the content. I mean, I had no idea this much scientific research had been done into paranormal phenomena. And I think it's rather unfortunate that today, with all the shows on paranormal phenomena and stuff, you really get these claims coming out that they all say, oh, legitimate scientific evidence has never really been done, or there's no proof this, there's no proof that, it's never really been proven that. And you come away from this book, you start to realize, okay, what's really going on, and she paints this picture quite well. She paints this struggle between the burgeoning science that was born out of Darwin's theory of natural selection that had been posted at the time, and of course the spiritualist movement that was cropping up at the end, towards the middle to the end of the 1800s, and then of course the traditionalist Christianity. And she really depicts quite well, I think, those three forces, and how they really, none of the three really was conducive or appreciated any kind of level-headed, open-minded, dispassionate research of paranormal phenomena. They all had their own biases. Mainstream science, of course, was completely against it. They would just reject it out of hand, which was uncharacteristically dogmatic for mainstream science. They're supposed to be getting us away from blind dogmatic stances without proof. But, of course, the traditional Christian denominations wouldn't want to have anything to do with it, usually. And then the spiritualist movement was all for it, and the problem that obviously happened with the spiritualist movement is there'd be believers in everything, and just about every medium would have her own little group of believers, and whether she was a charlatan or not, it didn't seem to matter. So that wasn't really conducive to investigating this phenomena. But those societies, they were founded, like the Society for Psychical Research was apparently founded by a group of real physicists and chemists and scientists and psychologists that were really, they were real scientists, and apparently there was a minority of scientists at the time that were really interested in this kind of thing and interested in investigating it. They wanted to see, okay, is there really anything to it? Are these mediums really doing anything? Is there anything to it at all? Or is it all just a bunch of hocus pocus? And they did a great job. And while they were doing it, they got viciously attacked by their peers in the scientific community. you know, and by lots of different people. So it was very difficult for them, but a lot of them really stuck with it because it's like the more they got attacked and bullied around, the more brazen they got and hardened they got to it. And not that they were believers or anything, they really were believers in good research, in looking into things with an open mind and finding out. And they just hated this mindset of rejecting things out of hand without investigating them, because they realized that just taking a dogmatic stance that says, oh, there is no such thing as a spiritual realm, you'll never find proof for it, nothing paranormal ever happens, taking a stance like that without really investigating all the claims that were out at the time was really just as bad as a spiritualist stance that said, oh, well, there's definitive proof for spirits after death and you know, just instantly believing all this stuff and believing these huge systems of cosmology that came with it. So the book is a real eye-opener, and it's a really good depiction of the time period. It basically covers William James' lifespan, so it goes from, I want to say, like the 1880s into like 1910 or something, maybe even earlier in 1880s, I can't remember. But and just covers a lot of different people and covers a lot of the research and a lot of the cases that were some of the better cases, some of the better mediums, like Leonora Piper and what was that other one? Eugenia, I can't remember her last name. I'll just butcher it if I say it. It starts with a P. She was the Italian one that was good at telekinesis apparently and stuff. And pointing out where the mediums tried to fake things, where they revealed that some mediums were just complete fakes, or where the mediums would just fake stuff if they could, but if you really tie them down, then they'd start to reveal some pretty cool stuff. And the book is a fantastic read. It's a real eye-opener, and it's written, the author as well, she's not a believer in anything, you know, as far as that. She approaches it with a very open mind, and you come away with it just with this kind of this picture of, wow, there is a lot of stuff out there to look into. There is plenty of evidence that there's something going on, whether it represents spiritual phenomena or just, you know, extra dimensions we're not aware of, and the ability of some people to interact with those dimensions or view those dimensions or things. Whatever the underpinnings, there's something to look into, and there has been a lot of evidence. And so one thing you really come away with this thinking is anybody who claims out of hand that things like telekinesis and clairvoyance and stuff have never been conclusively proven to ever occur, well, those statements are just completely blind. I mean, because you look at just the sheer preponderance of evidence, just case after case after case of people where these researchers themselves would control a medium, tie her down to her chair and make sure she couldn't move, and some of these things were like in broad daylight, you know, do everything they could to make sure that there was no trickery going on, and still they would find some really compelling stuff. So so not only is it good historically to kind of cover that period and cover some of those people, it's also great as an introduction to the field of legitimate paranormal research. And don't kid yourself, there is legitimate paranormal research going on. There always has been. And of course, there's a lot of flack and a lot of BS that goes with it, because for some reason you start touching on this topic and everybody seems like has a really strong opinion one way or the other, and people will not hesitate to completely lambast a researcher for looking into something that everybody knows is completely crap, you know, and when in fact everybody doesn't know, and there is evidence that is kind of compelling. And so, yeah, it's a great read, fairly short, but really meaty, and introduces you to a lot of stuff, and she has an excellent bibliography. So if you want to read more, it's all there, and it already got me onto some other books and stuff. So there you have it. Ghost Hunters by Deborah Blum. Great book. Give it a read. It's worth it.